before you do any electrical work, always make sure you disconnect your negative 10mm wrench. Loosen up the nut and just spin her off. Remove the engine cover, 10mm socket. And just lift it up. To remove the air box, I'm going to start with the vent hose on the valve cover. I'm going to squeeze this clamp with my fingers. Get that off. Then I'm going to take the harness off. This is the mass airflow sensor. Squeeze down this tab and pull. Then we have the purge vent. That's for the evap system. Squeeze on the tab and push. Now I've got a pair of needle nose pliers so that I can undo these clips. Squeeze the tab, lift that up. Take the harness out of the air box. Now I'm going to take the air duct hose off the throttle body. I'm going to remove the little vacuum hose here. There's a clamp. You can squeeze it with your fingers and slide the clamp up the hose. And spin the hose, pull it off. This is an 8mm socket. I'm going to loosen that clamp up. Now I'm going to go to the air box to see these clamps. Pop these clamps off. And pull the lid off. And take the hose right off the throttle button. Now with that out of the way, I can now see the wire harness. Squeeze the two ears on that, pop that through. There should be one more hose. So here's the other evap hose. One last clamp, little squeeze tabs. That through. Now we can put this safely aside. I'm going to undo with a small screwdriver this little clip that holds the harness down. And then I'm going to pinch the squeeze tab and lift up. Get that connector out of the way. There are two coolant hoses going to the throttle body. One here and one down below that. More easier to get to once you dismount the 4 bolts. So the only other hose is this vent hose back here. So you can use a pair of pliers or needle nose, and you just want to squeeze it, give it a little twist, and pull on it. If your hose looks like this, I recommend replacing it. That's very dry rotted and that can have a major vacuum leak. It's 4 mounting bolts, 12mm socket. We're going to take them out. Pull each bolt out, get it out of the way. I'm going to take a pair of pliers and I'm just going to softly squeeze and spin so that I can get that hose to spin off. The same on the bottom. There might be coolant coming out of these hoses, so make sure you cover the intake opening before you take the hoses off the throttle body. Install a new gasket. Make sure it seats right down in there. The new throttle body is updated from a TSB from Toyota itself. So this back vacuum hose out of the intake, they call it a drain line, is eliminated. So the new throttle body will only have 3 ports on it, 2 coolant and 1 vacuum on the top here. So we're going to take this line, we're going to pull it out, eliminate it. So you're going to need to get yourself a vacuum boot that is 7/32 and cover that port on the intake. I'm going to put the coolant lines on again, where the blue coolant hose was the bottom and the white marked one goes on the top. Now I can get my pliers and reattach the clamps. I'll start them all by hand. My bracket fell down here. There it is. So I'm just going to snug these down, and then I'm going to torque them to factory specs. I'm going to do it in a crisscross pattern. .22 foot-pounds is the factory specs. Double check. Bottom air box compartment's gonna go back in. Line up that air intake. You get 3 mounting bolts. And before I get too carried away, I'm gonna put my cable bracket back in over here. Just pop it down in place. 10mm socket, just snug them up. Install the air filter. Make sure it seats correctly. These can be kind of a little bit of cumbersome. They ride on that ridge. Okay, we're going to take the top air cover, and I'm going to put the 2 back teeth in the spot right there. And all at the same time, I'm going to throw the air intake hose on, throttle body. Push that down. I'm going to do the clips first. 2 clips. Put this hose on. Get that clamp to go back on. Now don't forget the vent hose back here for this evap. And then it's just a little butterfly. You can easily use your fingers for that. And now we can get the harness and rehook it up. So we'll follow the clip. That goes down there. Put that in that fold. Bring the connectors over. This connector goes right there. Connect the mass airflow sensor and the evap solenoid. And then put this bracket back there. Now we have the vent hose down here. Let's slide right over. Close the butterfly clamp. And mount it in the bracket. 8mm socket, and we're going to tighten the throttle body hose. Make sure that's tight. You don't want any air leaks. So now you can put your engine cover back on, line up. This one, the stud actually came out with the nut. That happens, it's not a big deal. Start it by hand, put the nut on this side, 10mm socket, and just snug them up. Now we're done, we can put our negative battery cable back on. And 10mm wrench. Make sure it seats all the way down on the post.